This
Similarly,
conference will now be recorded.
Distance NFB should be arranged from blur value might not be there, then break with 7 and recovery with 4, with a certain amount of standard deviation is also there, that we don't have to mug up these things. When we practice these things, automatically it will be learned. Then similarly, near PFV value should be around blur with 17, break with 21 and recovery with 11, and near NFB value should be 13 for blur, break with 21 and recovery with 13. Similarly, now monocular accommodative facility. So monocular accommodative facility values are different for different ages. Although now most of the time we'll be doing for children's and for the adults. So for the adults, it is around 11 CPM, cycle per minute, is considered as abnormal. If the patient is having accommodative facility lesser than 11 CPM, then it is considered as abnormal. Similarly, binocular accommodative facility values are acceptable if it is little less than the monocular accommodative facility, but it should be in that range only. But little bit is, if it is less also, then also it is normal. So I'm not going to read these things. You can see in your slide here on a screen. Similarly, monocular estimation method value or MEM retinoscopy value should range from plus 0.25 diopter to plus 0.75 diopter. More than plus 0.75 diopter is considered as lead of accommodation, and less than plus 0.25 is considered as lag of accommodation. Similarly, NRA values should be more than, equal or more than plus 2.50 diopter. Similarly, PRA values should be equal or more than minus 2.50 diopter. NPC value should range from TTN, means tip to the nose, or if you can measure it with the help of scales or something, then it should be, or RAF ruler we can use. It should be around 5 centimeter for break, and recovery should be within the 7 centimeter. And similarly, NPC with red green filter should be around 7 centimeter for break and 10 centimeter for recovery. And now coming to the amplitude of accommodation depends on age. So according to the age, we can calculate with the help of Hofstad's formula for the minimum amplitude of accommodation, and accordingly we can say that whether it is normal or abnormal. Now coming to the group all tests, that was about the normality values. Now coming to next step, that is group all the test results. All the above tests can be categorized in 3 categories, that is positive functional versions group or PFV group, negative functional versions group or NFV group, and accommodative group. Positive functional versions group includes all the tests probing base out. So basically the tests which probes the convergence of the eye, that comes under the PFV group. It is again classified into direct and indirect. That is if you are using PFV tests, that is with base out, then it is direct. Similarly, Vergennes facility with the base out prism is also considered as direct test. In indirect tests, it includes NRA, binocular accommodative facility with plus lens, NPC, and MEM retinoscopy. Similarly, NFV group includes all the tests probing base in prism, okay, or you can say the tests which diverges the eye, okay. Again, it is classified into direct test and indirect test. Indirect, it will come NFV, step or smooth Vergennes, then Vergennes facility, especially with base in prism. Then in indirect test, it includes PRA, binocular accommodative facility with minus, and MEM retinoscopy. And in accommodative groups, it includes indirect tests, includes NPA and amplitude of accommodation, monocular accommodative facility, indirect test. In indirect comes MEM, binocular accommodative facility, NRA, and PRA. Now finally coming to the identifying the syndrome. So how will you identify the syndrome, or which condition it is, or which NSBBD disorder it is? We know that there are series of NSBBD disorders, which a couple of them are, you can see on your screen: convergence insufficiency, convergence excess, fusional convergence dysfunction are the most common binocular vision conditions or common NSBBDs. Similarly, for the less binocular vision conditions are divergence excess, basic exophoria, divergence insufficiency, basic esophoria. Similarly, in there are accommodative insufficiency, ill-sustained accommodation, accommodative excess, and accommodative infacility. Now coming to the each syndrome has their own criteria to diagnose. So we'll be discussing about that now. Let's start with the convergence insufficiency. In convergence insufficiency, near exophoria will be higher than the distance exophoria. That is the main characteristics of convergence insufficiency. Along with that, the PFB group, we have classified the test results in 3 groups: NFB group, PFB group, and accommodative group. So here, the NFB group test results will be low. Okay, so two things: if near exophoria is greater than the distance exophoria and PFB group tests are showing low value, then it will be considered as convergence insufficiency. Again, for the PFB group, any 3 should be matched. Directly we can diagnose it as convergence insufficiency. Similarly, for the convergence excess, here near esophoria will be higher than the distance esophoria, and tests of NFB group will be low. So in convergence insufficiency, PFB group test results were low. Here in convergence excess, NFB group will be low. That includes low Bayesian prisms, means that is nothing but low NFB value, then reduced CPM on Vergennes facility, especially they will feel the difficulty with the Bayes-in prism, then low PRA values, then patient will fail with binocular accommodative facility. They will have difficulty with minus lens mostly, and then high MEM. Asked Kapil. Okay, fine. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, okay, fine. Okay, so next is fusional Vergennes dysfunction. Here phoria will not be significant. Okay, so it will be there, but it can be within normal limit that we have discussed in normative values. Then similarly, here NFB value and PFB value findings both can be less. So in that condition, if you are not able to diagnose as convergence insufficiency or convergence excess, here then we can diagnose it as fusional Vergennes dysfunction, but that should fill these criteria, which is low Bayes in and Bayes out, means patient will have the both less the PFB value, then reduced CPM on Vergennes facility. They will feel difficulty with both Bayes out and Bayes in. The patient will fail with binocular accommodative facility, and then they will have the less value in NRA and PRA also. Similarly, they will have they will pass with monocular accommodative facility because they don't have any accommodative problem. They have the Vergennes problem. So in monocular accommodative facility, they will be able to clear that, but in binocular, they will have the problem. Similarly, in divergence excess, distance exophoria will be the higher than the near exophoria. This is the main characteristics of divergence excess. Along with PFB group tests will be low for the distance, and it will be normal for the near. And also there will be high AC by ratio and low Bayes out prism, that is low PFB values, and then they'll have the reduced CPM on Vergennes facility, facing difficulty during Bayes out prism. Next is basic exophoria. Diagnostic criteria for basic exophoria is similar to that of convergence insufficiency, but here near exophoria and distance exophoria both will be almost same. or we can say normal, or and along with it will also have the normal ACYA ratio, and PFV group will be less as similar to convergence insufficiency, which includes reduced NPC, low base out, and distance. Means PFV value for distance and near both will be near low. Then reduced CPM1 versions facility, distance and near both. Then it will be having low NRA. Patient will fail with binocular accommodative facility, and they'll have the low value on MEM. Now next is basic esophoria. Again, here diagnostic criteria for basic esophoria is similar to that of convergence excess. Only thing is here magnitude or amount of esophoria will be same for distance and near both, along with normal ACY ratio, and NFV group will be low. So again, NFV group will be low, that is nothing but low and NFV values, then reduced CPM1 versions facility for distance and near both. They'll be facing difficulty with base out, then low PRA values, then fails on binocular accommodative facility. They'll not be able to clear that, and they'll be having the high MEM values. Similarly, in the case of divergence excess, distance esophoria will be higher than that of near esophoria, and along with low ACY ratio and low NFV group tests. Now coming to the accommodative insufficiency. If here we have to analyze only the accommodative group. If tests proving ability to stimulate the accommodation, such as amplitude of accommodation, PRA test, or monocular accommodative facility, or binocular accommodative facility shows less value, then it can be diagnosed as accommodative insufficiency. In accommodative insufficiency, MEM values will be high, that is a lead of accommodation. But if amplitude of accommodation is normal and tests proving ability to stimulate accommodation shows less value, that it should be diagnosed as ill-sustained accommodation. Means in accommodative insufficiency, like whatever the tests we are using, which includes plus lens, is less, sorry, minus lens is less, then we can diagnose it as the accommodative insufficiency. Means they are not able to diagnose or they are not able to stimulate their accommodation as per how much is required. Next is ill-sustained accommodation. Same, the diagnostic criteria for ill-sustained accommodation is same as accommodative insufficiency. Here only thing is amplitude of accommodation will be normal, and all other diagnostic criteria are similar to accommodative insufficiency. Now coming to accommodative excess, here test proving to relax accommodation will be low. Means test in above test what we have done, which includes plus lens, and those test results are less, then we can understand that patient might be having accommodative excess. Similarly, accommodative infacility, here both the test which includes plus lens and minus lens both are less, that is low NRA values, low PRA values, and patient is also failing with monocular accommodative facility and binocular accommodative facility, then it is accommodative infacility. So as a summary, diagnosis is simple. We have to make it simple, and grouping data, identifying phorias, and measurement of AC ratio plays key role in the diagnosis of NSPBD. So now putting it all together, so you might be like I explained this all, but you might be feeling little difficult. So put it all together. First of all, patient will come with the symptoms or asthenopic symptoms, and those patients will do the visual acuity testing or refraction, you can say. If visual acuity is normal, then we'll go for the eye health is normal or not. We'll do the anterior segment and posterior segment evaluations. Then we'll do the refraction. If it is also normal, then we should consider it might be binocular vision problem, that is non-strabismic binocular vision problems. And then we have to check the phoria, okay, for distance and near both. If exophoria is present, then we will be analyzing only the PFV data. Means we have already classified PFV group and accommodative group for this only. So if exophoria is there, then you don't have to see other things, only analyze the PFV data. If PFV data will analyze, and then we'll also see the AC by A ratio is high or low. Depending on that, we can analyze another disorders. If phoria is greater at distance and lesser at near, then we can consider it is as a divergence excess. Similarly, distance and near phoria is same, then we can diagnose it as basic exophoria. But this phoria is not only the criteria, we have to see the AC by ratio values also, and along with the PFV data also. Similarly, if distance phoria is lesser than the near phoria, then we can consider it as a convergence insufficiency. Similarly, that was for the exophoria. Again, if you check for the esophoria, then we'll see the NFV data. If in the case of esophoria, we'll see the NFV data. In NFV, and along with the NFV data, we have to see the AC by ratio also and phoria also. If distance phoria is higher than the near phoria, then we'll consider as divergence insufficiency, and we can compare with the diagnostic criteria for the divergence insufficiency in this NFV data. Similarly, if distance phoria and near phoria is same or equal, then we should consider it as a basic esophoria. Similarly, phoria for distance and phoria is distance phoria is lesser than the near phoria, then we should consider it as a convergence excess. So if phoria is not there, means phoria is there, but if it is in the within normal limit, then we have to consider it as an accommodative problem, and we'll analyze the accommodative group data. So we have classified them: NFV data, PFV data, and accommodative data. So if both phoria is not there or it is not significant, then we'll consider it as an accommodative problem. And while analyzing,
not coming. Someone picture is coming in my slide is not coming.
Video.
yes,
Manish.
Vivek.
Hello.
Hello, Manish. Can you switch off your video?
Hello, Manish, are you there?
Don't share your video, please.
I'm turning off to him.
Okay. So, Vivek, are you able to see now PPT?
Please close the camera.
Don't share your yes. Okay. So in accommodative data, there are basically three things we have to see. The tests which includes minus lens are low, then we should consider it as accommodative insufficiency. The tests which include plus lens are low, then we should think it as a accommodative excess. And if plus and minus lens tests both are less, then we have to think it as a accommodative infacility. If phoria is also not significant and accommodative findings are also normal, then we might have to consider it as a fusional vergence dysfunction or other binocular vision problems. If phoria, fusional vergence dysfunction also can be diagnosed according to their diagnostic criteria, then we have to consider particularly what is less. Let's say low phoria or low basin or low NRA. So in treatment, we will be focused on treating in these things only, depending on their test results. Now coming to case studies. So if you have any doubts till now, we can discuss, no problem. right, Kapil?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, we didn't have any question till. Yes, we can, after the this discussion we can put some questions.
Oh, am I going too fast?
Yes, yes, sir. Please put it, and if we have any doubt or problem, I'll be just interrupt you,
Fine.
and we can continue the
Fine.
discussion session, sir.
Okay, fine. So
Okay.
now that was about the diagnostic approach. How will you diagnose the different NSPBD conditions? Now coming to the case studies. So this will give us the little better insight of diagnostic approach. So this is a case of a 12-year-old boy, history of blurred vision after 5 to 10 minutes of reading. Means boy was facing blurred vision within the 5 to 10 minutes of reading, along with the report of eye strain. Then anterior and posterior segment examination were done, which showed normal. Then patient was referred to the VT, and we have done the examination, which shows this case results. So we'll be reading for you. Here you can see unaided vision was 20/20, that is normal. Then similarly, near vision was also 20/20 or N6, let's say. So refraction shows emmetrope. Then in stereopsis, it is showing 40 Chekhov arc, which is also normal. Color vision was done with the help of Sierra chart, which is also normal. Worthford test shows fusion. Cover test was showing ortho for distance and 4 esophoria for near. So here you can see near esophoria is higher than the distance esophoria. So we'll come there. Then another NPC was done, which is also normal. Then NFV data for distance shows no blur value. Then break was at 8 prism diopter and recovery was at 6 prism diopter, which is also normal. Base out versions distance means PFV for distance was 9, 18, and 12. That is blur at 9, break at 18, and recovery at 12. ACY ratio shows 8:1. So this is abnormal. We know that normal is up to 6:1. So this is abnormal. Then base inversions for near is also normal, means normal, and PFB for near is also normal. Versions facility was 10 CPM, means that is also normal. Up to 11 CPM was normal for adult. Since this is a 12-year boy, 10 CPM we can consider it as normal. Then amplitude of accommodation was calculated, and it is 13 diopter for both the eye. PRA values was -2.50 diopter, which is also normal. NRA value showing plus 1.50 diopter, so it is little less than our normality values. Then monocular accommodative facility with +2 diopter was 0 CPM, means patient was not able to pass the plus lens. Here you can see, here it is +2, it is written, means patient was feeling difficulty with plus lenses and he was not able to pass a single cycle. Similarly, binocular accommodative facility was also failed, 0 CPM, and MEM was showing plano. So now coming to the case analysis. And coming to the case analysis, where cases will always begin with foria. So in foria, you can see in cover test, it was distance, it was ortho, and near it was 4 esophoria, means that is near esophoria was greater than the higher distance, means distance there is ortho, so of course there is no esophoria. Then since it is ESO is there for the near, we'll be seeing only the NFB group data. So direct in NFB group there are NFV for distance and NFB for near and versions facility, all are showing normal values. Similarly, in indirect tests like PRA is also normal, MEM is little low, and patient was failing with binocular accommodative facility. So tests proving ability to relax accommodation, that is tests with plus lens, are showing failed, means NRA value was less, right? Plus 1.50, normative value was plus 2.50 or greater. So since it is plus 1.50, it is less. Then monocular accommodative facility and binocular accommodative facility, patient was not able to perform. It is 0 CPM, and their difficulty was with plus lens, and MEM value is also less. Right. So what will be the diagnosis? What do you think?
Accommodative access.
Yes. So let's say, so since patient was facing mostly problem with the plus lens, it will be diagnosed as accommodative access. Correct. Next case, similarly, I have only 3 cases. So if after this will be, if you have any cases, we'll be discussing that. So second case is a 20-year-old college student presented with complaint of blurry vision and discomfort around his eyes after 15 minutes of reading. So patient was feeling asthenotic symptom within the 15 minutes of reading. So anterior and posterior segment examinations were done, which was normal, and then patient was referred to VT, and there we did the binocular vision evaluation, where it was showing visual acuity is normal, subjective refraction plano, means immetrope, then stereopsis is normal, 40 of arc, color vision is also normal. Worth dot test is fusion, so it is not mentioned here for distance or near. Actually it is distance and near, both it was fusion. Cover test, that is FORIA for distance was ortho, and FORIA for near, it was 4 isophoria, and NPC was also within normal limit. Then NFV for distance was done, which showed no blur values, and break was at 8 prism diopter, and recovery was at 6 prism diopter, so which is also normal. Similarly, base out prism, means PFV for distance was also normal. Then ACY ratio is 8:1, which is not normal. It is higher, high ACY ratio. And then NFV for distance and NFV for near and PFV for near was also normal. Vergence facility is showing 11 CPM, which is also normal. Here accommodative amplitude of accommodation is only 5 diopter. So according, this is a 20-year-old patient. So if you calculate with using Hofstra's formula, this for this 20-year-old patient, minimum amplitude of accommodation should be around 10 diopter. But here in patient is having only 5 diopter of amplitude of accommodation. This is lesser than what is required for that age. Similarly, you can see here PRA value shows -1, which is less, right? Normative value was only up to equal or greater than -2.50, but here it is -1 in this case, so it is less. Then monocular accommodative facility is 0 CPM for both eye, and patient was feeling difficulty with minus lens. Same for the binocular accommodative facility also, and MEM value was showing plus 1.25 diopter, means which is higher than the normative value. So we'll be doing the case analysis now. As we know, always we'll begin with FORIA. So here in this case, iso at near, means for distance it is ortho, and for near it is 4 isophoria, means near isophoria is higher than the distance. Then so since it is iso is there, we'll be analyzing only the NFV group directly. In when we analyze the NFV group, direct tests such as NFV for distance and NFV for near was normal, and Vergence facility was also normal. But when we went to the indirect tests, PRA values were showing normal, abnormal, which is less here. Then MEM value is also less, and patient was failing with binocular accommodative facility, which is also not normal, right? So here you can see this is the mixed result. So since mixed result is there, we'll go to the accommodative since NFV group, couple of them are normal and couple of them are abnormal, right? So we'll be analyzing now accommodative data. Means since we didn't come any conclusion because of this NFV group, we'll be jumping to the accommodative data. We'll be analyzing accommodative data. In accommodative data, PRA value was less and monocular and binocular accommodative facility was also less. So what will be the diagnosis? Yes, so many answers I am getting. It is AI, means accommodative insufficiency. Similarly, I have the last class for today. It's an 18-year-old boy. He was a boy presented with complaint of inability to read comfortably for more than 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, her eye burns, the print becomes below, and if she continues to reading, she experiences double vision. So patient was referred to VT. So there we did the binocular vision evaluation, which include here vision is normal, subjective refraction is also normal, stereopsis is normal, color vision is also normal. Watford dot test shows fusion, cover tests ortho for distance, and 6 isophoria for near. Similarly, NPC was also normal. NFB for distance was no blur, break at 4 prism diopter and recovery at 2 prism diopter, which is then PFV for distance was also normal. AC by A ratio is showing 13:1, means it is way higher than the normality values. Similarly, NFB for near was also normal. PFV for near is also can be considered as normal. When we see the Vergennes facility, it is showing 9 CPM. So for the 9, it is little less for the 18-year-old patient. So it should be around 10 CPM, but it is 9 CPM. So although it can be, so in such condition, what we have to do is we have to see the other factors also. So as of now, I am considering this as abnormal. Then amplitude of accommodation for the 18-year-old, according to Hofstede's formula, if you calculate, it should be around it should come around 10.5 diopter. But here in this patient, it is having amplitude of accommodation is 13 diopter. That means it is normal. So minimum should be 10, right? So it is 13, so it can be considered as normal. It is normal. Then PRA values, if you see, it is way lesser than the normal value. Normal value was around equal or more than minus 2.50 diopter. Here in this case, we can see minus 0.50 diopter only. So that is less than the normal value. Then PRA values plus 2.50 diopter, it can be considered as normal. Then monocular accommodative facility was showing 12 CPM, means that is also normal for both eye, and patient was not able to pass the binocular accommodative facility, means it was showing 0 CPM and patient was facing diplopia with the minus lens, and MEM value is little high, minus plus 1.25 diopter. Now coming to the case analysis. So as we know, we will always begin with FORIA. So in this case also ISO is there. So since ISO is there at near, we will be analyzing the NFV group data. So in NFV group data, direct tests are little low. You can see here normal is 7 and 2, 7 at recovery and 2. So it can be considered, sometimes it can be considered as normal and sometimes it will be considered as abnormal also, depending on the other factors. And indirect findings, PRA value is way than lesser than the normal values. MEM is little high, and patient was has problem with binocular accommodative facility. Patient was failing at there. So here all tests proving this direct and indirect are low. Here you can see these are also low and these are also low. So directly NFB, this patient is having high ISO at near and low ISO at distance, and patient is facing problem with NAB group data. So what will be the diagnosis?
Convergence excess.
Diagnosis will be convergence excess.
Convergence axis.
Yes. So that was about the case. So if you have any queries, you can ask me.
Okay. If you have any questions, yes, Nur Alam, do you have any questions?
So, sir.
Yes, please, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Sir. Normal range of stropsis is how much?
Normal range, it is considered as a 40 sec of arc. Generally, in clinical practice, we'll consider as normal. But if it is more than that, is also normal. It is way even better. If it is 20 sec of arc, then it is also better.
That's a 20 to 40 second. Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
20 to
we can hear.
20 to 40 second of arc is normal.
It's not like that. 40 diopter in clinical practice, we assume it as normal. If it is more than that, means 20 sec of arc, even 10 sec of arc is there, then even better. 5 sec of arc is there, it is even better, like that.
Okay, sir.
There is one question from the Vikas Kapil.
Yes.
Can you throw a light on when the NPC with the accommodative target is considered more precise than without accommodative target?
So in my view, it is nothing like it is an NPC with accommodative target is more precise, or with non-accommodative target is more precise. They both has their own significance. Okay, so in it's nothing like that. I don't think it is one of them is more precise. They both have their own significance. Like in the case of pseudo CI, here I have not discussed about pseudo CI, pseudo convergence insufficiency. In those conditions, although the accommodative target shows normal, NPC with accommodative target will show normal. Without or with non-accommodative target, it will show abnormal. So that is varies on case to case. We can't say this is more precise and that is more precise.
Okay, sir.
Somebody has
there
asked,
is another question. Yes. Nandi Limbo asked,
yes,
what is the lateral?
What is lateral phoria? Lateral phoria is nothing but esophoria and exophoria. Is lateral phoria.
What is MEM retinoscopy?
MEM retinoscopy is monocular estimation method. We'll do it is a type of dynamic retinoscopy. This type of retinoscopy we don't do to find out the amount of refractive error, but we do this for find out the accommodative status of the patient. This will be doing from the 40 centimeter when accommodation is at active state, and then at that time we'll do the normal retinoscopy only, but at the 40 centimeter, and patient has to look at the 40 centimeter target. So they'll be doing their full amount of accommodation, and we'll be checking how much they are able to accommodate or not. They are, basically that will give you the about like how much they are accommodating. I can ask what is that? Can you? Yes, Kapil.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There is another question. Yes, Niranjan sir, you can unmute your microphone and you can speak.
Here, so I'll just explain this Nandi Limbo. Why normal value for NFV? Yes.
For a breakpoint is better at the near than the distance.
Yes. So because in PFV, what we are checking is how much a patient can converge. Okay, we are checking how much a patient can converge, and in NFB we are checking how much a patient can diverge. So basically, of course, if you see, you will be able to more converge than how you will be able to diverge, right? So because of that only, PFV value will be always higher than the NMV values.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. So another question is there from the Leonard Dancer. So why do you think there is a binocular accommodative facility less than monocular accommodative facility?
Because monocular accommodative facility, here we are checking only the accommodation. Means while checking monocular accommodative facility, other eye will be closed. So there is no correlation between both eye. When you will check the binocular accommodative facility, vergence, or we can say convergence, will also come in the play, and that will less the value. It will decrease the value a little bit. It's not always, but if it is little less than the monocular values, it is acceptable. I'm not saying always it will be less.
Okay, so there is a thank you, sir. There is another question from Asmita. So NPC with non-accommodative targets should be considered to those whose values go beyond in the RF range.
NPC with non-accommodative targets should be considered to those. I didn't get this question. What is that? NPC
Yes.
with non-accommodative target should be considered to those whose value goes beyond.
Asmita, you can unmute your phone and you can ask question.
Niranjan was also asking. I have one query. I can ask in voice.
Yes.
And another is what
yes, please,
is
yes,
the
sir. Yes, there is someone speaking. Yes, sir.
Okay. It was not the question, it was the explanation. Thank you, Asmita. Another was by Chandan Mahato, sir. What
I
is
guess Niranjan sir is speaking there, but voice is cracked.
Okay.
Yes, Niranjan sir, you can proceed. I guess we have a problem with your audio.
Can you hear me now?
You can.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, Niranjan. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the whole presentation. It is nicely arranged. But the thing is, in real clinical practice, when you are dealing with such cases, it is sometimes a bit confusing, like which management approach to start, because it has been seen like you'll be giving same kind of treatment, same kind of exercises, irrespective of the problem in real clinical practice. So I would be
Niranjan sir, the
Okay.
echo
Yes,
is
yes.
coming from you. Yes, sir. Yes. Continue.
Can you? Shall I have to repeat
Yes, sir,
again?
you can.
Yes. Please repeat the question.
Okay. So my actual question is, when for all these three cases, what would be the clinical management as well? Because sometimes it is very confusing. Like we'll be end up giving same kind of management for all the binocular vision disorders.
No, I don't think so, because depending on the diagnosis only, we'll be treating the patient. Because let's say if patient is having convergence excess, okay, so or let's say let me go to let's say it is accommodative excess, okay. So patient is having more problem with plus lenses, means they are not able to relax their accommodation. So we will be giving exercise which will include more the minus lenses. So it's not will giving all like the same treatment management.
So the question was like, even if you can give at least one or two management as well for the all three cases, because that would be like a complete solution for the any cases, because you have left only for the up till the diagnosis.
Okay, yes. So today I was planning to take only the diagnostic approach. So it's okay. For the accommodative access, we'll be giving the will include the more minus lens exercises, such as you can say this lens block test. Lens block. Then we'll giving the heart charts. We'll giving the whether white sockets and all. The more minus lens. Okay, we'll be using the more minus lens.
So, I mean, sorry to interrupt, but do you have another consequences classes for this topic, or?
that Kapil will say. I don't think I have the right to say that.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Niranjan sir. There is another question from the Taman Mahato. Sir, what is the convenient method to measure the distance and near Korea?
What is the convenient method to measure distance and near Korea? So convenient, if you see, there are different methods are there to measure Korea. You can use Maddox rod also. You can use Thornton charts also. So if you ask me, I feel modified Thornton chart is way easier than the Maddox rod. Or you can check by the cover tests also. So you can use according to your convenience.
Yes. Sir, there is another question from the Hirnath Davi sir. What is the difference between the ill-sustained accommodation and accommodation insufficiency?
So in ill-sustained accommodation is name itself answer is there. Ill-sustained means patient will be able to do accommodation, but it will not be the continuous. So in morning they will be doing, in evening they will get tired and they will not be able to do their accommodation. They will feel starting the stenotic symptoms. In the case of accommodation insufficiency, it will not be like that. All like from morning to evening they will face the problem.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Ira sir, for the question. So there is another question from the Santoshi Chaudhary. Thank you so much for question, Santoshi. Santoshi asking for what is the role of Hofstadter formula in calculating ACY ratio value?
So Hofstadter's formula is not for calculating ACY ratio. ACY ratio will.
Yes, sir. Sir, are you there, sir?
What is the role of Hofstadter's formula in calculating ACY ratio? No, I don't think there is a role for ACY ratio. There is Hofstadter's formula is for checking whether the amount of amplitude of accommodation is there in the patient is normal or abnormal. For that is good. Okay, so that is nothing related to ACY ratio.
So is there any NPA normal value?
NPA normal values like we have to calculate that in the amplitude of accommodation, and then again with the help of Hofstadter's formula we can say whether the NPA is normal or abnormal.
Okay, so another question from the Hirnath sir. Which method do you prefer for calculating ACY ratio in clinical practice?
Which method do we prefer ACY ratio? So generally in clinical practice we use the gradient method, and for the research they are using for research purpose and all, they are using calculated method also. So according to your convenience, I feel gradient method is way easier than the calculated method, because in calculated method you have to measure IPD again. So you can say it is nothing easy or hard. It is a individual choice.
Okay. So there is another question from Anita Oren. Thank you for question, Anita. How often you use computer-based vision therapy?
How often you use computer-based? I didn't get this question.
Sir, I guess he was asking for like any non-established binocular disorder. Is there any binocular any vision therapy for that, or if you have to use the vision therapy, computer vision therapy, then
they says that for the IT professionals or who use computer more period of time per day, these are something called
computer vision. I guess this is the computer vision therapy.
Sorry,
this is for.
I didn't get this question actually.
Therapy, I guess.
How often you use computer-based vision therapy?
Yes, sir.
So like how often I am
binocular vision? Yes. Yes, sir. Means for NSPVD, how often you use the computer vision therapy?
Yes, so we are using for all.
Sir, I guess your voice is cracking, sir. Sir, hello, sir. Are you there, sir?
Is that okay now, Kapil?
Yes, sir. Is it okay, sir?
So I was telling, we use computer-based vision therapy in our VT, because if you are using only the non-computer exercises, patient will feel bored and all, because most of the childrens, they will prefer computer vision, computer-based therapies only. So attract them, or for the more effective way, we'll use computer-based vision therapy.
Okay. There is another question from Krishna Dhakal. How do you choose the accommodative filter with the age?
I didn't get that.
What? Yes, sir. How to choose the accommodative filter? Accommodative flipper with the age.
So that depends upon the age. So again, we have to use the Hofstede's formula, and depending on that, we'll calculate.
What is the normal value of Hofstede formula?
Hofstede's formula, there is no such normal values. There is a formula for minimum amplitude of accommodation, maximum amount of accommodation, and average amplitude of accommodation. So minimum amplitude of accommodation formula is 15 minus 0.25 into age. So that depends on age. So age is here variable. So we can't say it is a normal or abnormal. So depending on age, it will vary. Generally, for average amplitude of accommodation, it is 18.5 minus 0.3 into age, and for maximum amplitude of accommodation, it is 0.40 in minus 21 minus 0.40 into age. So you have to use that formula for the particular age.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. There is another question too. Sir, Vikas Khatri, thank you for Vikas' question. Question is, what is the impact of PD decentration on the folia?
What is the impact of PT decentration? I didn't get the question actually.
So if we give a scared glass, so if it was a decent impact,
so of course, you are, if you are decentrating, then of course that will cause the prismatic effect, and that will cause the folia. Right.
Okay. Anita, if you want to clear your question, you can unmute and you can speak yourself.
Here one question is, it is very important question actually. Hiranath Dahal sir has asked, how do you make decisions for managing the NSVVD case depending on your findings or symptomatic status of the patient? What consideration do you make? Yes, of course, here symptoms is the key. Okay, so it's not, if you are getting, let's say if I have done binocular vision tests evaluation, and according to that I got some, let's say I diagnosed as convergence insufficiency, but patient is asymptomatic, then of course it will not be valid, because first of all, patient will not come for the therapy or any kind of treatment. So symptom is the key. So always we have to correlate our findings with the symptom.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So
another question is, you check NPC and NPA in your practice. So NPC is same thing. We are using both accommodative target and non-accommodative target. Non-accommodative target means, of course, we're using red and green filter and torchlight. And with accommodative target, we'll use the our one. We have one. I don't have speaker right now. One line, one kit is there with one single line. So if patient is facing any diplopia or double vision or break value is there, then they will see a single line as double. We're using that for NPC, and for NPA there is a we have made a card with N6 size numbers and alphabets and 8 numbers. So depending on their near vision, we'll give the target and we'll perform the NPA.
Sir, there is another question from the Avinash. Thank you for question, Avinash. Sir, is there any criteria to choose flipper for the both accommodation and versions, like depending on what is it
so for a commodity flipper, yes, we have to choose depending on the patient's age. It will vary depending on their age. If patient is around 35-year-old, you might have to use only the +1 diopter flipper, +-1 diopter flipper. If patient is very young, 10-year-old, then you might have to use +-2.50 diopter flipper. It's like that. For Vergen's facility, Vergen's flipper, there is no such any criteria.
Okay. Thank you so much, Satyam sir, for the informative session, and also thanks to all the attendees and for the participants. So, sir, if we have to summarize the BVD diagnosis approach in a sentence, so how can we summarize this?
If you say summarize, first of all, C is the key. Okay. For first, as if you see, let's say convergence insufficiency. So name itself says that convergence insufficiency means patient will not be able to converge what is required for them, right? So they are not able to converge properly, right? So if they see very closer, they might be seeing diplopia or more amount of asthenopic symptom will be there. Similarly, that symptom will correlate with our findings, test findings, and we have to work on that.
Okay. Leaving my laptop just a minute. I guess.
How can we analyze? Yes. How can we analyze accommodative demand of the patient? So accommodative demand of the patient means, let's say, and for that age, amplitude of accommodation should be this. You can calculate using Hofstra's formula, and we'll be doing NPA. From there, we'll calculate the amplitude of accommodation. From there, you can see whether what is demand for that age and how much they are able to do, right? So clearly, we can get the idea. For fusional demand also same, we have the normative values for NFB and TFB. So accordingly, we can compare.
So I guess we have most of the queries. There is another question from the Renaxa. Can you share your special consideration you take while refracting the patients with this?
So a special consideration means we have to, of course, it is not only for NSPBT, we do it for everyone. Controlling the accommodation is the key. We have to control the accommodation, otherwise you will get all the NSP binocular vision examination tests results also wrong, and refraction is of course it will be wrong. So for keys is control the accommodation.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Okay, there is another question from the question or not? Our eyes able to diverge the distance is more, but why the normal value of NFB is greater here?
Because in NFB we are checking not the convergence, we are checking the divergence. How will you say divergence per distance is more? We have diverged, then we are seeing at distance target, right? If you are converging, then you will not be able to see at distance, right? So yeah. Because in
sir, I guess your voice is. Are you there, sir?
I'm saying if
your voice is good.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Am I audible now? Yes. So yes, what I was telling is, if you are seeing a distance target, let's say, or any far distance, you are already diverging your eyes. What divergence power you have, right? Then after that limit, you are asking your eyes again to diverge more. That's why it is less. Okay, that's why distance NFBR. please.
Yes, sir. So I guess we have answered most of the question.
Okay.
Before ending the today's session, I'd like to again express my sincere gratitude towards the Mr. Presenter Satyam sir and all the attendees, and also I'd like to appreciate all the helping hands for Miro I Talks program here with. I am ending the today's session. All
Okay.
you,
Okay. Thank you, Kapil.
to drop your review and feedback. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Stay safe and
Yes, everyone stays in this pandemic.
thank you so much. Thank you, sir.